It's the beginning of May 2021, so it's time for another monthly update video. I'm going to talk about what we've got coming up in the month of May and a bit about April, which was kind of a weird month for reasons I'll tell you about in just a minute. I always like to begin by highlighting three big things that I want you to know about that are coming up this month. So, big thing number one is that I'm going to be doing another Clubhouse event. This time it's with my wife, Andy Shaka. And I'll tell you more about that in the May section, but it's called Greg and Andy Ramble On. So, if you're on Clubhouse, you may want to check that out. Big thing number two, I started doing a good bit of publication in Medium, which I've had for a long time but haven't really used that much. And so I wrote quite a few things in April, and I'm going to have a lot of things coming out in May. So you may want to check that out if you like my longer form, non-video, non-podcast, written word stuff. And then finally, big thing number three, I'm going to be participating in the Stoicon X military conference. I'll be giving a short talk on Stoicism and what genuine courage as opposed to fake courage looks like. More about that in the May section. As a month, April was kind of a bust. It started out pretty good, but then I got hit by some serious bad news about midway through the month that I think many of you viewers or listeners or subscribers already know about, and that is the death of my uncle, May. My mother died many years ago. That's my mother's brother, and there were four of them. My mom, two brothers, Aim and John, and then my Aunt Bibian, who was a bit younger than them. So now it's down to just two, and they are, at the top of the food chain in the family, at least our branch of the family, you might say. So that was a real, it wasn't totally out of the blue. Aim was 73, but, anytime you have a significant death like that, that tends to take the wind out of your sails quite a bit. And I ended up canceling some of my events for the month. We're also in the process of wrapping up the semester as we finish out April. And this time, students are really quite, worn out after 2.5 semesters of COVID times. I think that they've kind of reached the end of their tether in many respects. So I didn't get quite as much done for the month as I typically do. I did hold my public half-hour Hegel session and my AMA and Worlds of Speculative Fiction section. I also had my my celebration for reaching 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and then the news hit, and then things kind of went downhill from there. By the end of the month, I was ready to participate in two conferences that I had either, sent out a proposal to and it was accepted, and then I'm on the hook for it, like the St. Anselm conference, or I was asked to participate in it and give a talk, like the Marcus Aurelius event with the New Acropolis. I also did some podcast interviews, and again, earlier in the month with the Side View podcast and the Stoic Coach. So I'll put links to those down below. And I did, as I pointed out, quite a bit of writing this month on Medium, including a piece about my Uncle Aim, which I'll link to here. I also did a video about him as well. And I finally bit the bullet and created a publication in Medium that I can use to aggregate my stuff called Practical Rationality. I might be inviting some other friends and colleagues to join me there in writing pieces having to do with practical philosophy, life, ethics, things like that. So I'll put a link to my Medium publication. You might find that interesting to read. Videos. I didn't get as many videos done as I would have liked. I had planned to do 4 book reviews. I got 1 book review done on Kai Whiting and Leonidas Konstantakos' Being Better about Stoicism. And I got 2 half-hour Hegel videos done, which is a little, disappointing. Usually I like to get 6 done a month, but that doesn't happen all the time. The event videos, the AMA, the Worlds of Speculative Fiction, the 1,000 or 100,000 subscribers things, those are all there for you to watch as well. And you can click see more and look at the video description. You'll see the links there. I did a caption contest with Ernie and Bert and Hegel, and I also did a Sadler stories. Actually, I did 2 Sadler stories, one about my Uncle Aim and one about something I remembered spending some time with my dad. I also did another thing that's really taking off, about 11 book volumes that are my favorites. And they're not my favorite books necessarily, but they are about book volumes. And a lot of people are watching that and seemingly enjoying it quite a bit. Core concept videos, I wrapped up the core concept videos on Nietzsche's Genealogy of Morals, and then I jumped into the Sigmund Freud Lecture 31, the dissection of the psychical personality. I did 6 videos on that as well, about the superego, ego, id, kind of classic Freud stuff. And I did a good bit of podcast editing and releasing. Finished up the stuff on Thomas Hobbes, released a sequence on St. Anselm's on freedom of choice, then 6 podcast episodes on Frantz Fanon's Black Skin, White Masks, and finally finished up the month with a whole sequence on Lev Shestov's All Things Are Possible, and released one video about podcast episode about Plato's Ion, his shortest work. So there's not going to be an awful lot of episodes on that one. So that's April. Not the best month in many respects, but there's quite a few things that you might want to go back to and check out if you missed them and you're interested in that sort of thing. So there's a lot going on in the month of May. We have a number of different events, all of which are online still, because we're still in COVID times, that you might want to participate in or check out in one way or another. We're starting the event a little bit late on Saturday the 8th. All times, by the way, Central Time, so you make sure to check your time zones. So on Saturday the 8th at 12 p.m., I'll have my monthly AMA, that's Ask Me Anything session, and you can pop in, and it's sort of open forum for about an hour and a half. I try to answer as many questions as I can. At 2 p.m. then, I'll also have my philosophy chat, which is an exclusive session for Patreon supporters at a certain level. That's video conferencing directly with me rather than just watching a streaming video and doing comments on the side. So it's a little bit more intimate. If that's something that you want to do, then you might want to consider becoming a Patreon supporter. On the 12th at 5 p.m., I'll have my public Hegel Q&A and discussion hour. Anybody can come to that. You don't have to be a supporter of the Half Hour Hegel Project, although most of the people who do tend to be from that. And we're now, deep in the religion section of Hegel's phenomenology, so that's pretty cool. On the 13th, I'm doing something quite new. I mentioned this in the 3 big things. So this is the Clubhouse event. Clubhouse is a platform that right now I think is only available to iOS, that is Apple, iPhone users. I don't think it's available on Android, but they're working on it. Be that as it may, Clubhouse is this pretty cool thing that allows you essentially to do a party line. And I've done one of them before with Massimo Pigliucci. This time I'm doing it with my better half, Andy Shaka, who I think many of you already know. And it is going to be very open form. It's called Greg and Andy Ramble On. And we're going to talk about whatever we want to. And, there's audience participation. People can ask questions, make comments. It's audio only. So, we'll see how many people want to hear us doing our shtick. We're both talkers. So, there will certainly be a lot that gets said during that. On the 15th, which is a Saturday at 12 p.m., we'll resume our classic metal class. We didn't do it last month, in part because I was just too down about my uncle and didn't want to do it. We will resume it this month, and we're talking about German bands, German heavy metal from the mid 1970s to the mid 1980s. Before there's too many bands to talk about, that should be a really interesting session. So you can join me and my friend Scott Bakker for that. That same day, and I'm not sure exactly what time because they haven't put the schedule out, but it'll be later than 2 o'clock my time. I will be giving a talk in the Stoicon X Military Conference, which you can sign up for. I believe it's actually free, and I'll be talking about Stoicism and genuine courage. I'll be recording it, so if you miss it, you'll be able to watch it later on. On the 16th, the next day, at 12 p.m., we will have another one of the events that I didn't do in April and got pushed back to May. That's the political theory and practice discussion, and we'll be talking about Aristotle and his remarks about slavery. It turns out that Aristotle's position is a lot more nuanced than a lot of people think, but we'll get into that during the session. I'm sure it'll be quite controversial, but it should be a good session. On the 22nd at 12 p.m., we'll begin the Worlds of Speculative Fiction. I think that's session 52, which will be the third session on our Scott Bakker's Prince of Nothing series. We'll be looking at the third book in the series, The Thousandfold Thought. And it begins with a video premiere where I'm presenting all sorts of cool philosophical themes and developments within the text, and people can do live chat on the side with me for about an hour and a half. And then after that, we switch to an interactive Zoom session where people can pop in and we talk through the works, and we'll probably be doing a lot of wrap up because that'll be the last of 3 sessions devoted to our Scott Bakker. On the 27th, towards the end of the month, 6 p.m., we have our MKE, that's Milwaukee Stoic Fellowship. And anybody can join from anywhere in the world if they want to. We sometimes have people coming in from Brazil, people from other states in the United States. And we're working on Cicero's On Duties in that. We're talking about the section on temperance and propriety and things like that. The other thing that I'll mention too is that we have our Wisdom for Life show that airs every Saturday at 4 p.m. on River West Radio. You can listen to it airing live anywhere in the world just by going to the River West Radio site and clicking on Listen. We also have the shows available later on as podcast episodes and as videos, so you can check those out. So that's a lot of stuff going on, right? In addition to that, we're finishing up classes. Carthage finished back in April. Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design finished officially yesterday, but I've got grading to do, so it's not finished for me yet, right? And then Milwaukee Area Technical College classes don't end for a couple weeks yet, but I'm already getting ready for my summer class, which is for Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. I'm teaching a Intro to Philosophy class in 6 weeks, and I'm really rethinking and redesigning the class. I might do a video about this, actually, because I am trying to, instead of teaching sort of a traditional Intro to Philosophy class, I'm using the opportunity of having this very compressed time frame and teaching students who are not going to be philosophy majors at any point, most likely, to rethink how to make lifelong learners out of people studying this class, how to best equip them for moving on and continuing to develop in the field of philosophy that I love so much. So that's part of what I'm doing. I'm also doing a lot of writing this summer. You'll see a lot of things coming out in Medium, maybe also in some other venues as well, but we'll just hold off on that. I'm also doing a lot of writing, hopefully, for book projects that have been kind of stalled. And I'm working on a co-written paper for a conference coming up in June, specifically on Aristotle, Epictetus, Alexander of Aphrodisias, Simplicius, dealing with proairesis as a cause. That's the faculty of choice as a cause. So some metaphysics, some human nature, some history of philosophy, some cool stuff there. Video work, I have the ambition, at least, of getting back to shooting 6 half-hour Hegel videos a month. We'll see if that's possible. I'm also going to be doing some book review videos. One that I've been aiming to get to for quite a long time, Midlife, a philosophical guide, that I have to finally get done with. One that got sent to me during the election that I wanted to review. Emergency Kit for Finding Common Ground. I think that could be a useful thing to do. Another one that was sent to me by, Princeton Press in a whole bunch of books on mercy. This looks very interesting. And then there's one that I checked out from the library that's quite recent. Barbara Rosenwein's Anger, the Conflicted History of an Emotion. So I'm going to shoot for reviewing all of those. By the way, I have... in Amazon now, they let you upload videos, and I've uploaded a lot of my Sadler's Honest Reviews videos into my Amazon store, which I'll put a link to as well. So those are some videos I'm doing. One that I think people are going to be kind of excited about, I don't know if I'm going to actually get to review it in May. It may be in June. But it's something that people have been asking for a long time. And the press finally sent me a copy of the book. They bit the bullet because I kept on saying, hey, people would always ask, hey, can you do stuff on Nick Land? And I'd say, send me a copy of Fang Numina, and I'll do it. So one of the editors wrote and said, what's your address? And they sent it to me. So I'm reading my way through this right now. I got to say that the mystique that's developed around this book, and Nick Land in particular, seems a little misplaced and mistaken because it's pretty much standard fare, continental philosophy stuff. It's not as mind-blowing as people have made it out to be. But, I'm only a few essays into it. But I might get to review it this month, might not. We'll see what happens. What else? We'll do another caption contest video. I've got to think of a good, picture to use with that. Probably do a few more personal videos as well, the Sadler Stories ones. And I am going to do something. Somebody asked me, Alistair McIntyre is somebody who's important to your work. You've got all this stuff on the Jean-Paul Sartre phase and Nietzsche phase and, why you like Plato. Why isn't there a video on McIntyre? So I'm going to shoot a video on McIntyre and my connections with him and his work. He's somebody who I knew personally. Haven't interacted with him for quite a while, so I can't say that we're colleagues or anything, but he is somebody who's quite important. So I'm going to do something on that. I'm going to shoot some core concept videos on Gilles Deleuze's essay on Bartleby the Scrivener, on Foucault's The Subject and Power, and then I'm also going to be doing something kind of interesting as a project in May. So a long time ago, I shot, using the same sort of half-hour Hegel approach, I shot a whole bunch of videos, roughly half an hour each, on Epictetus's Enchiridion, and I put them into a different channel, which was kind of a boneheaded thing to do at the time. So what I'm going to do is take those videos, which don't have the best sound quality, and remaster them. I'm gonna improve the sound quality as much as I possibly can using some software. We'll see about if I can, make the lighting a little bit more consistent than them. That may or may not be possible. And then I'm going to upload them in my main channel and switch out in the Epictetus course. There's a free Epictetus course, by the way, on the Enchiridion that I've got. I'm going to swap those videos out with each other. So that's what I'm going to do video-wise. Maybe we'll do some other things. Who knows? You just have to watch the channel. Podcast. I've started releasing those podcast episodes on Plato's Ion, and I do have another Plato thing coming up this month. I'm going to be releasing some content on Plato's perhaps greatest dialogue, the Symposium. Before that, I'm going to be releasing some a short sequence of podcast episodes on Justin the Emperor and his address to the uneducated cynics, and then a sequence of podcast episodes on Michel Foucault's Technologies of the Self. But then after that, it'll be Plato's Symposium. So lot of stuff coming up in May. We'll see if I can actually get to all of it. Sometimes, it's you set the bar high, but you only make it halfway. But that's still better than doing nothing. So hopefully you can join me at some of these online events, and I'll see you there, or in comments on the videos or podcasts or the writings or whatever it may happen to be.